Hey, so there's this new TV program. Wait, not a TV program, streaming service. I know, another one. And it's called The Mandalorian, and it's Star Wars related. I don't know if you've heard of it, have you?
Wait, did you just start off the podcast by saying that?
Yeah, dude.
So wait a minute. We've been off for over a month, and the very few people that give a shit about us, you're not even going to introduce us again? Oh wait, we've been off for a month. We are called Jake and Mike Know Nothing. My name is Mike. I'm sitting across from Jake, and collectively, we know stuff, but we don't really. Yeah, The Mandalorian is part of Disney Plus, which we've already talked about previously. But you've watched all 3 episodes. I've watched all 3 episodes. What are your thoughts so far on all 3 episodes?
Well, I mean, obviously, right off the bat, Baby Yoda is fucking fantastic. But
Baby whatever it is, because yeah. I don't want to commit to Yoda, because Yoda has green eyes. That thing has brown eyes.
For sure, it's just his species, but
whatever its species is too, because we don't even know that.
Cute nonetheless.
Cute little green creature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for the most part, it's being considered a child of Yoda's species, but no, it's cool and it's interesting. What is it? There's only 3 episodes. Oh, the new one comes out tomorrow. That'd be cool.
No, Friday.
I keep thinking it's Thursday already.
The final episode will be 2 days after Christmas, which will be pretty neat. It's critically acclaimed, so it's not just all of the people that have been Star Wars fans forever. It's already accumulated a 9.1 rating on IMDb. Pretty solid. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty solid. And of course, if you look at Google and you Google the internet like we do, 97% of Google users like the show. So it's done a really good job so far of getting people behind it. They've had different directors on it so far, but it's basically out of Jon Favreau's camp. They're the people that have been specifically behind it. Favreau is, of course, famous for many things, including the Iron Man movie that people seem to enjoy that I've never
heard of
with.
it.
Yeah, never heard of her. I actually just really like him because he's Vince Vaughn's side piece essentially in most of his movies, or he plays a really good cop/linebacker in The Replacements. But that's another day and another story.
So for me, I mean, right off the bat, I think it's great so far. I'm more interested in this than I am the Star Wars movie. I think it looks awful. But
I think that's a consensus though too at this time, is that a lot of Star Wars people are more interested in having this thing play out than going to see the new movie when it comes out in December.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate for me because I can't stand that it's weekly anymore, right? Just because I like to watch every single episode.
You're a binger, yeah.
For sure. What helps you get into it more? It also kind of sucks that the runtime for all these are 29 to 38 minutes. So as soon as they get started, they're over. And it appears as if there's only 8 episodes, so it's going to wrap pretty quick, which is interesting because it's been kind of story building and it's slow, but not that slow. It's good. I like where it's at.
It doesn't always move the fastest, but I think that it's gotten us to the point where we are actually kind of starting to develop some sort of, other than for Baby Yoda species, Baby, we are starting to develop, kind of a relationship for these characters. We're starting to actually the specific people as far as it goes. As an example, Nick Nolte, of course, is Huel or whatever his name is, the little guy that
I have spoken.
I have spoken. Yeah, I can never remember why. I don't know why I can't remember it. But obviously, he's very soft spoken. He of course goes out of his way to help Mando with regards to everything. Now, Mando, it's interesting too because I do feel like it's a slang way of saying, you're a Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're going to actually get more information on who he is, his real name, or do you think we're just going to keep getting the vague Mando the Mandalorian reference?
Well, I think we'll definitely get more. I don't know if we'll ever hear a specific name. Well, maybe at some point. I'm sure there'll be some reveal. Also with the little flashbacks that we keep seeing.
Sure.
You know what, dude? We totally... Spoiler.
Who cares?
I know, I'm fucking around. Everybody has seen this.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody's borrowing everybody's Disney Plus app right now.
There's a lot of issues with this shit, by the way. Disney Plus servers going down, people not getting sound, not being able to finish it, a lot of error codes. But no, I think we're definitely going to... I think this whole season is basically going to be one big build-up to find out that he's related to somebody and that we already know, or something or other.
Now, Carl Weathers, who is also famous previously for being Apollo Creed in the former Rocky movies, not the Creed Dynasty movies. Well, I mean, I guess you would say with the flashbacks, he's in the Creed Dynasty movies. But Carl Weathers plays Grief Karga. Basically, he's the person that's in charge of the Bounty Hunter Guild. So he's the person that obviously apportions out all of the work to all the different bounty hunters that are on this planet that obviously Mando seems to keep working on. Now, what's kind of cool about all of this is that there seems to be like a code of ethics for them, right? The code of ethics is this is your fucking job and you need to do your job. And within the first basically 2 episodes, you kind of wonder like if Mando understands, like, you know, he's supposed to know this, but he kind of doesn't at the same time, right? Like he just
seems a little roguish, but at the same
Sure.
time, he cares about his people, his crew, you know?
He definitely cares. I mean, the Mandalorians are all underground at this point. It's almost like, you know, I'm sure we'll get more backstory on this, that they were forced under for a specific reason. It's a very complicated, quick building story. I absolutely fell in love with him, though, watching him zap Jawas. I hate Jawas. They're some of my least favorite things in any of the Star Wars sagas, you know, any of the backstories. So when he was fucking shooting them and zapping them, I was like, yes.
It is nice to see him get fucked up for once.
Yeah.
Also, I mean,
Gypsies of the desert, bro.
yeah, side note, it's like, I definitely thought this was going to be a lot more PG, if you will. Not that it's bad by any rate, but, you know, to see someone kind of emphasize or presume gets cut in half by a door and him just throwing them little fuckers off the side, like, that's all pretty cool. And I appreciate Disney for doing that. I don't need to see big blood and guts, but I also don't want to just see these little silly little deaths and what have you. So far they're keeping it pretty cool with actually like kind of how they're doing that.
Now,
his blaster rifle that just disintegrates people.
Oh yeah, I mean he updates. It was a nice little joke meme about, you know, he's just like one of us. You know, he gets his paycheck and he goes and blows it on new clothes, and it's just the updated armor and stuff.
Well, it's funny because just before that he gets it all trashed fighting something and
Fighting that rhino creature. Yeah, exactly. He almost get got, but Baby Yoda saved his ass. And again, I could care less. I feel like everybody's seen it at this point.
and this is all set, by the way, after the fall of the Empire.
Yes.
And before the emergence of the First Order.
But we have stormtroopers involved, of course. They're obviously involved in this. Now, keep in mind that the gentleman that is not kind of necessarily named per se, that obviously Carl Weathers' character of Grief Karga, like, gets the work for obviously for Mando. They're kind of referring to him as like the client. Do you have any idea who that guy is? Like, that's Werner Herzog, man.
Oh, well, yeah. That's what I thought you were saying something else. I really like Werner Herzog as well. And he was actually on record because this Baby Yoda, if you will, they were wanting to make it CGI and not kind of like a puppet kind of thing, which is what they've done to make it more realistic. And he was like, do the puppet thing. CGI is tacky.
I mean, he's arguably regarded as one of the more important directors in the history of cinema. So, I mean, he's been nominated, obviously, as being very important in history.
I always
of cinema,
love him as being kind of like a bad guy, which is kind of cool. What interesting for me is, like, when you look up the cast, you see all these people and you're like, dude, we're about to be 4 episodes in and we haven't seen half of these people. And then you have these 2 people, you know, Carl and Warner, and it's like he kind of just screwed over Carl, you know, the leader of the Bounty Hunter Guild. So is his saga done? Is there going to be a forgiveness thing? And he'd be like, oh, water under the bridge. You killed half of my people, you know?
No, I think that this is going to end up becoming they're going to track him down, because obviously the key fobs all became active again. So they're going to then go try to find out where he's hiding out or what he's doing. Of course, shielding this Yoda-like creature. I mean, that's what the cool part of it is where we're at. You know, we got a nice little quick taste because we got 2 in 1 week, obviously, for the first week. You know, then we got this past Friday's episode being released. In a sense, these episodes, like you said, they're kind of slower moving. They really are. There's a lot of just kind of, you know, non-dialogue build-up of them going from place to place. Mando doesn't speak all that much, obviously. You know, like obviously, you know, Kuil, Nick Nolte's character speaks very, very, you know, little. Of course, there's an entire, just like you could kind of say it's a montage, right? It's set with music while they're rebuilding the ship. So there's just been a lot of parts to this where it's just kind of like, waiting and everything. But dude, I think the one thing that's been universally critical, I believe, when I've talked to everybody, where everybody's stoked about this, is the amount of action that is in this show. Like, just how quickly it's moved with having the action, and it's not violent per se, violent in the sense of like you're seeing blood and gore, but it's violent enough that, obviously people are getting shot, people are, getting cut up.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying earlier. And it's not like bad. And it's not real tacky or childish. So I think they're doing like a pretty good job. It's, I don't know. For me, I love this kind of shit. I think this is much better than actually the Star Wars movies have been, because they've been just abysmal.
I thought Solo was good, but I didn't have any expectations. So for me, that was like, okay, that Solo ended up being good with having no expectations. I do think it's crazy though that, we always talk about the Star Wars universe, usually pick some unknown people to be involved in the projects. But like, then you have like Brian Posehn, who's like a lifetime nerd, like he's a big fan of nerdy shit, and metal, of course. Like that's how I know him, as like, nerd guy, but also metal. Like he's going to get involved. Bill Burr, the fucking comedian Bill Burr, is going to be in this. And then Horatio Sands, who I used to love on SNL back in the day. He kind of fell off a little bit here and there, but he's been kind of coming back around a little bit. He's looks like a completely different dude, like lost a lot of weight. So you're right. There's like some random people that we're still waiting to see get involved in this, that, you don't necessarily think would be associated to Star Wars for the most part. But
I like what they're doing though. That's the thing. This is what they could do, but they stick to that same stupid fucking formula that traditionalists love and everybody who likes nostalgia and shit loves. But like Rogue One, to me, is probably one of the best movies they've made, and I don't know, since the originals were made, and those were only good because of what it looked like and presented. It's all always been about like what it looks like.
Everyone dies, baby. Everyone dies.
And it's phenomenal because you constantly get the feel of you just being this random little rebel, and you're part of this and that, and you don't see, all you hear is about Jedi and Sith and what have you. And then at the very end, you get Darth Vader, right? And he pops up, and you're like, holy shit, this is what it would be like. He's ruthless, he's brutal, he's beyond powerful, and it was great. So then you get something like this, and you're like, ooh, I'm a bounty hunter. And it's like, he gets pinned down all the time, and you're like, well, he's not going to get killed because he's the fucking main character.
He's the main character.
You go, things could go pretty south here. You never know.
Yeah.
And I like that. And it's because he's on like a regular person level for the most part.
Now, I had no concept of who Pedro Pascal is, the gentleman that's basically playing Mando. But of course, I was originally like, once I brought up the fact that, do we even know who he is? Do we know if it's a guy or a woman? You're like, oh, I know who he is. Like immediately you're like, oh, I know who he is. And we're not even going to see his face. Mm-hmm. So do you know him because of Narcos? Do you know him because of Game of Thrones? Like, where do you know
both
him?
of those?
Both of those.
I've watched both of those.
Fair enough. I figured one or the other, maybe both.
Mm-hmm. No, and he's a really good actor. And he came out and said, I mean, we'll see if it's truthful or not. He told everyone to pretty much quit bitching and don't complain. You're not going to see my face. We don't take the helmet off. Before the show even started. That's how I even found out about it.
Now, and then, of course, Dr. Pershing, the guy that essentially, he says he saved Baby Yoda, so we'll have to see if he's really, like, ruthless. Like, maybe he's full of shit, right? That guy's played by Omid Abadi, or Abtahi. I'm sorry, guys. Trying to not butcher this gentleman's name. I thought he did a really good job of just, kind of, like, in that sense of like playing like a vulnerable guy, like, no, please don't kill me. If it wasn't for me, like this creature would be dead. Like I protected it,
Well, and that's what I mean. Cause when you look at everything, it says that they're co-starring. So dude's going to show up again. Is he going to be kind of helping them or not? There's a lot of unknown. Dude, so far, I think this shit is great. I wish it was an hour long because you really want to go, I want to know more about the client. I want to know more about the stormtrooper bodyguards and the potential empire.
Now, since we live in a society where, like, I feel like the majority of fans love the droids, the robots that come from Star Wars, right? Like, that's what people seem to love. You go to, obviously you go to Disney, the little BB-8s that are at Disney now, and obviously R2 and C3. How about the bounty hunter droid? Dude, how fun was that thing?
He was great, and I don't understand like why this has become like such a Disney thing. It's like every movie they're like, we got to have a new cute little stupid animal and a new cute little droid, and
hashtag money, hand over fist, bro.
For sure. But they're usually like the best things that these shows, series, and everything come up with. And it's like, so they clearly spend more time trying to think of this cute little gimmicky thing just so people can go, oh, I like it. Same thing within Rogue One. And they always put a big emphasis on it to show these little robots as well. But no, it was cool. And I mean, he did shoot it, destroy it, betray it. But it was also like a part of like a little army or whatever, right? Like he says, oh, it's a droid. So it could pop up again.
Yeah, the Mandalorian seems to absolutely hate droids, which will be interesting because we'll see as this progresses, you know, like again, there's little hints that they're hinting and dropping out of certain things. So I'm sure there will be more backstory as to, you know, maybe droids are not supposed to fall in line or follow the Mandalorians. I'm not sure. It was
interesting that it basically like thought for its own self, you know, when he kept going, oh, we're going to self-destruct. And
calculated, yeah.
But it was... I wonder if we'll find out more about that, if it's actually like ran by a specific person or whatever.
I like the spinny arms and just kept shooting and everything. That was a lot of fun. Honestly, man, you know, again, it's got me definitely into it. After the first episode, I was like, it's all right. You know, like it's got me there. Like I see why people are shitting their pants because there's the baby Yoda creature and everybody loves a cute baby. Obviously, I have a cute baby right now, so I can't say no to that. But at the same token, like it's definitely got me excited to watch the whole rest of this season. I think it'll be good momentum if they decide to get this creative group involved with the next, I guess you could say the next trilogy coming up, the post Skywalker trilogy, where there's no longer any more Skywalker saga. I mean, there's a lot of people that are speculating how this is going to end. One of my coworkers benevolently had brought up how he thinks that maybe Kylo Ren and Rey are actually like twin brother and sister, but they were separated, kind of like Han and Leia were separated. And I'm sorry, not Han and Leia. I'm sorry, Luke and Leia were separated. I apologize, guys. I'm not on my shit apparently tonight. But no, like how crazy would that be? Like if that was the case, like another almost like love story, but then they're actually brother sister.
I think it'd be fucking so lame. And this was something that was projected like when the first movie came out. And I mean, I wouldn't doubt it in the sense because this is all this shit has done is reused everything. The more likely scenario is probably going to end up being that
she's Luke's daughter or something. Or
I don't even give a fuck, to be honest. Yeah, what it'll end up being is it'll be some random fucking kid by Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? And then because they're doing the Obi-Wan story, and then they can eventually find the Obi-Wan, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be some shit to where it's like, all these people are cloned, right? Because you have this dumbed down version of Rhea who looks like a clone with her stupid fucking lightsaber that's like a nunchuck. Also, so cringeworthy in the trailer. They're riding horses and shit in this big epic battle because they're trying to copy the Avengers. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. They should have not Disneyed this like they did. It's disappointing.
It's literally anything that was interesting, like any moment in the original trilogies that made you go, oh, wow. They've just replicated in the last 6 fucking movies. And it's so tiresome. Dude, for real, like if for anybody who just truly thinks the stories of these are phenomenal, you're just absolutely lying to yourself. Like, I'm not a hater, nothing like that. I think it's a cool concept, but like, the video games have better stories. The comics have better stories. The fucking cartoon has a better story. Everything is completely better
the Clone Wars
than these fucking movies. These movies are like all the same.
I always love that General Grievous is like a robot with lung cancer. It always makes me laugh.
I
How does that work? It's great. It's great, man. It's
just coughing and
shit. Yeah, he's just you're a robot, man. Come on. No, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's fascinating. It's Star Wars, man. That's cool.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a cool world. It's a cool world.
And everybody always wants more, right? Like, you know, Darth Maul dies and everybody wants more Darth Maul. They're going to get more Darth Maul.
They're supposed to get more. Yeah. Same thing with an Obi-Wan movie. They're supposed to get that as well.
And there's supposed to be people that are also doing the same thing with Grievous. They want more Grievous. They want more Count Dooku. They want more of this. They want more of that.
That's what I was saying. I think this is all going to end up cycling because Jon Favreau is part of it and he's part of the Avengers and everything. I was telling you, I think this is going to be a big Disney collective idea, right? We'll put it in quotes, where they go, hey, let's be like the Avengers and we'll do all these standalone little movies and they're slowly going to tie together and then we're going to have one big movie. And I don't know. Maybe that's the brand new Star Wars movie.
Hey, man, I mean? As long as Chewbacca makes it through all of them, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. They have been reluctant to kill him because he's such a big money-taking person. But it'll end up happening probably in this one. He'll do something to save the day.
We'll have to see. That's what the film will be all about is see how this chapter closes in the book. But I don't know. I'm not exactly excited for it. I haven't bought any of the pre-sale tickets. I don't even know that I'm going to go kind of opening weekend, not just because of Emery, but just because, again, I echo Jacob. I'm not that excited for it. The last one left a hugely bad taste in my mouth. Obviously, Leia floating through space using the Force completely made me just like absolutely just want to walk out of the theater when I saw it, honestly.
Honestly, that whole movie was so fucking bad.
Yes.
And it's like, it really was.
Yeah,
I remember halfway into that, I was just like, I don't even plan on watching the third. I told Katie and I were watching it. She's like, I got a headache. Let's just go home. I'm like, we got to finish this fucking thing. I'm like, this is Star Wars, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to walk out. And we finished it, and I was like, cool little lightsaber scene at the end, but also way to build up this evil villain for 2 movies and then have him get killed by a gimmicky Force thing. And I'm like, that took a turn, and now it's like, and now I have no fucking interest in the movie at all.
Sure. It is depressing, obviously, but
at any rate, yeah, this not meant to be a bash fest of the previous movies.
No, but we can, because that's what we're here for.
But yeah, this was kind of just like a quick recap. So I don't know, much like this series here, Mandalorian, this is going to be a pretty dang quick episode.
Well, there's that, and then there's also the fact that we want to both encourage everybody here. Jake and I are avid lovers, of course, of sports, as you know on our other podcast, but we also differ highly sometimes on what we find to be a good show. I just basically recently have finished up Righteous Gemstones. I started the show loving it. Jake started the show not necessarily caring for it. Jake finished the show liking it a lot, and I never waned from liking it a lot. You had said to me today even that you thought that the episodes were better once Danny McBride's hands were less involved in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, because it was just too much of his everything.
Yeah.
The acting, the direction, the script, everything.
The humor's great. The plot twists in it were great. I was very happy with what I saw. Some other sci-fi kind of stuff going on. I know people don't live under a rock anymore, so most everybody at this point, if you haven't seen Rick and Morty, I don't know where you've been. The whole Pickle Rick thing, I feel like, was way over the top. Not to say that all the other seasons and things that they did were way over the top, but they're now also 3 episodes into the new season, and we had just discussed our thoughts on the first several episodes. Jake, do you want to tell everybody your thoughts so far of season 4?
I think the first episode's pretty damn good. The second was a little worse, and the third didn't need to be even there.
I think that the first episode was great. I really do. The second episode, third episode, I thought were good as well. But I mean, again, we have high expectations. I mean, this show has absolutely touched our funny bone for several years now. I mean, dude, like, I can't tell you how many times that I just absolutely love quoting stuff from the first season, and some people get it right immediately. Some people are just kind of like, Pickle Rick, though. And I'm just like, no, not Pickle Rick. But dude, you know, like, obviously existence is pain, Jerry, you know, just everything, you know, like, that they had in the first season, I felt like was dynamite. And, you know, obviously Anatomy Park, there's just so many, you know, little solid specks of gold throughout it. But I wanted to get your input on this. They had done a pretty decent job of not really recycling a lot of characters in the first several years. In episode 1, we had Mr. Meeseeks back. Of course, for me, I like that. I like Meeseeks. You know, I like the Meeseeks boxes. And, of course, then the fascist Meeseeks, you know, that they didn't open.
Man, why don't we fucking, like, save this for another one, guy?
No, dude, fuck that shit. Anyway, and then, you know, obviously this most recent episode, Mr. Poopy Butthole's back. Everybody likes him.
Yeah, I liked at the very end or whatever. And he's like, I did enjoy the constant throwing the lollipop in the mouth or whatever and kicking back. And I like that he assembled this whole team just so we can get free pass passes. And they're like, what are we doing? What's the score? And he's like, nothing. That was it.
That was it. Just, you know, we needed you for the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I do think it was a good episode.
It wasn't bad, but I think the first episode for me was a high note. And I was like, this is great. It's a good start. And the second, I was kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. Like I said, the first one literally made me laugh out loud several times. And the other two, I was just kind of like smirked. And I was like, that's
between all the fascist references, all the fascist alternate universes. And then, of course, on top of it, you know, Morty's being guided by that crystal the whole episode. So he can obviously die with Jessica saying.
And then hologram Rick turns into ginormous Rick, gets stung in the eye by Wasp Rick, explodes.
So good, man. So good. They are such creative guys, obviously. Justin Rowland They're, really creative dudes. And then you've been really high on the Watchmen. I got through the first episode, but I've been really lazy. I haven't watched anything since the first episode. But, tell everybody your thoughts there. Don't ruin it for me per se, but tell everybody your thoughts there.
No, I really enjoy it, and that's all I'm going to say at the moment because there's 6 episodes in. Fucking watch it, and we can talk about it.
All right, fine. So, guys, again, we are, I guess we don't really give a shit personally, but we kind of do feel bad that if you subscribe to this, that we've been having these big gaps between me being a dad and us just really valuing sports and our own personal time more over than, I guess you could say, finding a new show to watch or whatever. We've kind of shit the bed on this podcast. We're apologetic for that. But we do both have a plan to try to get back more involved. Like Jake just said, I need to catch up on Watchmen. That will be another episode. I've been encouraging him to watch, the teenage drama that is Daybreak, even though you don't seem to want to. But it is, it's all over the place like a teenager's brain. It's been a pleasure getting to sit down and talk about some science fiction nonsense for you guys. Thank you for hanging around, and if you do get through this whole entire episode, I hope you guys are excited because we are planning on being back around sooner.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, everybody. And next week, for sure, there will be another episode.
Don't say that. You're promising something we probably won't give them.
We'll get something done.
Disappointed, I know you are. All
Bro,
right,
I just quit my job, dude. I got plenty of time.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys.